We're going live, and today is a big day. That's right. Today is Sunday, the 5th of October, and it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we do every Sunday. We are writing a book with me, and it's concept to conception, which means we are almost to the conception. That's right. We're on chapter 27 today, the final chapter, also the final plot point of the 27 plot point outline, which means today we finally get to finish the chapter, the zero draft outline of the chapter, and then we're going to move on to the next step. And then you might be saying, Thomas, what is going on? Why am I here? Well, the reason is this. Boop. We have been doing this for 30. This is the 39th episode. We have been writing through my writing process, which is the Thomas J. Bellezza writing process. And we have already brainstormed with brain dumps. We have done character arcs. We have also done all the short form outlining and extended outlines, which brings us to the zero drafts. And we are on the 27th chapter of the zero draft. We are there, and we are square, is all I'm saying. We're ready to kick some butt today, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Hannah Hunt! I had fun at the Renaissance Fair yesterday. Oh, fare thee lady. Hello. Welcome to the Renaissance Fair. Whoa. Hello, hair. Oh, it's Thomas Flowers. It's Thomas. But today, for anyone who has never been to this series, just know that we are moving right along. So much so that I'm excited. And and hello, Tomas. Tomaso! If you don't know, when we do the zero drafts, this is us just outlining the chapter. We are creating chapter rhythm and beats. We're playing with it. We're showing the pacing. We're trying to make sense of the information that is within said outline. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what are we trying to do with the zero draft? We're trying to make sure that before we get into the immersive elements of prose and the deeper writing, that everything makes sense foundationally. Which brings us to something very... By the way, we're going to finish the 27th chapter today. However, that means that we're going to move on to the next step, so let's just talk about that real quick. Organizing plot points and elements. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to be reading through each of the zero drafts, all right? And I'm going to be taking notes. So you're going to see how I take notes, where I put those notes. I am not going to be adjusting, adding, or taking anything away from the zero drafts that we have already. I'm just going to focus on reading them and taking notes so I can go back and have an action plan that will allow me to adjust them in the seventh step. But for now, let's get into it. And remember, as always, if you have questions, feel free to ask during the whole thing. If you have questions about what I'm doing, if you have questions about your own writing, you are not limited to waiting for the end. We do about an hour, and then we jump into giving the floor to the audience. We sing and dance a little bit. But by the way, if anyone doesn't know, oh wait, I think I have to change something here. Yeah, I gotta fix this. Excuse me, just so we can see it better. Boop, there we go. All right, and if you don't know, there is always a poll in the comments. What's hardest to accept? We have they were right, it needs rewriting, good idea, poor delivery, and it didn't feel real. So when getting feedback from your readers, your beta readers, or your alpha readers, what's the hardest to accept? Meaning that they were right, and what we believed was wrong. All right. We'll talk about that at the end of the hour. What do we got here? Hannah Hart says, I bought a purple and pink flower headdress, a loaf. Oh, a loaf. A loaf. A loaf of sourdough jalapeno bread and a blind date with a book. That's a duo POV book about two friends competing for the ultimate prize to join the reaping? All right. Let's do it. If anyone doesn't know what this is actually the extended outline. Okay, I copy and pasted it into the chapter. As we can see, there's at least 3 scenes in this chapter. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring it up here. We'll sort of lay out the page, and then we're going to go in, and I'm going to expand on beats. Ciao bello Emma. so that's that. We're going to go here. We're going to create the... Oh. Do-do-do-do-do. A do-do-do. A do-do-do-do-do. Phenomenon. Do-do-do-do. Phenomenon. Let's see. They were the ultimate prize to join a ballet opera's prestigious corps, corps de ballet, and a water horn book. That's... Oh, that I got signed. That is I got signed from the author herself. That's very cool. And it's awesome that the author was there to sign said book. It's nice to be able to kind of like connect with the author. That's why I always say go to the events, you know, go to the writing events, go to the, you know, I think it's also important for writers to go to these events, and like not only because like you might be from different areas, but you could like meet up at these events and you could have a lot of time either as speakers, you know, and then while you're waiting like the, you know, the day of or whatever, you get some dinner, maybe go back to the hotel and just relax, laugh a little bit, talk about what you're going to discuss when you get to the event, especially when you do the speaking. It's just nice because that's how you network and you build relationships and stuff like that. It's just good to meet you know, friends, pals, you know, whatever. All right, let's get into it. All right, Jam. By the way, I don't add any titles right now, though I could. It's not a big thing. And for anyone who's joining us and hasn't seen this process, you know, ever, I am not writing prose. I am not writing in a POV. I am just working in my general broad statements and ideas because I just want to see the movement of the plot. Remember, all narratives made of a plot and story. Plot is what needs to happen no matter what, and story is how the plot unfolds through the emotional experiences and choices of your characters. Right now, we are focused on plot to make sure everything makes sense. Why? So when we're working on the drafts, we can focus on the story. Just saying. Just saying. Now I came down with a slight cold. I might have a cold too, Hannah. Well, the secret to a cold, by the way, is not to get it. But if you have it, you know, a nice warm bath, a good hot beverage can definitely help. Not that I'm a doctor, but I am an expert in very little. All right, let's... Why is this... It looks like... Whatever. Let's see if I can adjust this 1 second. Whoop. Let's do this. There we go. Save, update layer. There we go. I fixed it. Okay. Now we can see the words. All right. The ship pops out of the wormhole, pushing out, and all the beeps and bloops are going off from the computer. The ship is shaking, and pieces are flying off. Laura is running around, pressing buttons, yelling for... All right, so what I like about this is this seems like I did a lot of the work in the extended, so we might actually be flying through this one today, because when I'm seeing this, there's not much more I could add to this. I could get a little bit more detailed with it. You know, the ship pops out of the wormhole. You know, what is that? I could maybe, like, focus on the experience of it, but again, that's where the story comes in, and not necessarily the plot. So this is really doing a lot of the heavy work. And just by the size of it, I think I did a lot of the heavy work back when we did the extended. Oh, I was trying to find another author who had wrote her own version of Sailor Moon with her first book called Of Chaos and Creation. I walked up and down the aisles and several times. Couldn't find her anywhere, and she was on the list of merchants. I hope you sent a nice complaint. You were like, "Hey, said it was supposed to be here. Where was it?" Anyway, I feel like I'm wearing a hood. You know, like a hood. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. See, this is why I don't keep my hair down. I'm burning up over here. Let's put the beast away. Let's put the beast away and get back to it. Let's get to it. Oh God. Oh God. All right, there it goes. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay, we'll have to let that come down, you know, when it's behaved. All right. Ooh, there's air. All right, Laura's running around, hitting the buttons. The ship shimmers and twists, tossed from the run and holding the time. Laura says that they don't have anything to put back in the end. Could anyone find? Guess what I dressed up as yesterday? Sailor Moon? Sailor of the Moon? Sailor Day Moon. Sailor Moon. Alright, Olivia tries to call up the person who runs the loading dock. Of course, her helmet and device are not working well. Still. Because remember, it doesn't work. And it is static and noisy. How are they heard enough to set up the crash landing? Their ship pushes through the atmosphere. Oop. Alright, so this is another beat. Boop. And heads towards the loading dock. Forming below. Loading. Guidance rays. Nice, guidance rays. Oh, see, I gotta make a note. Remember, you always got to give yourself notes. And the reason is because if something is coming up and you know it's going to help with the narrative, you want to be able to go back and make sure that everything is earned and it's not just randomness. You know, because if it's randomness, then it starts feeling like Deus Ex Machina. It starts feeling like contrived. It starts being bad, you know. And with a blind date with a book, it came with a reading list where I could put my titles when I started and star rating. Very fantastico. Alright. And Laura and the love interest both let out a deep breath and fall back and relax. Alright. The bleeps and bloops still going. Off and just hits the off button. You know. Not even. Alright. There's some cute moments here. I forgot about these cute moments. The door opens up and people run in. Hey! Checking on her, including the person who runs the loading dock, who was in the beginning of the narrative. I dressed up as my character, Princess Fairy Petticoat, and didn't wear my purple. I wore my purple and pink wig. I wear it every time I go to bed or I get the mail. Not many people know that. That's inside info that you just now, because you support this live, found out. So I just want that. I want that now. All right. We got 3 votes on the what's hardest to accept. Remember that we do have a poll in the comments section that we will go over at the end of the hour. What's hardest to accept when you're getting basically feedback from other people? They were right, meaning you were wrong. It needs rewriting. Ugh. A good idea, poor delivery, son of a, and it didn't feel real. What? Only because I like talking about these things. I like having a conversation about stuff. Because it would take away from my purple dress. All right. Okay, the love interest steps out. Okay. All right. This is actually a new beat. Thomas, what are you doing? I don't know. Just for anyone who doesn't know, when I use the furthest to the left bullet point, it just means it's setting the next beat. So in this situation, there's a lot of beats, but it's action-packed, so you would expect multiple beats. But it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on 6 beats right now, and there's going to be... Oh, this first scene has 6 beats. And then if you... At least 6, we'll see. And then these inner... like when I bump in it, this is for people who don't watch the series, just in case you're just jumping on. This right here means that I'm going into the main beat, and then if it goes in a little further, it means that I'm going deeper into the secondary beat. And what does that really do? It shows me how long, like for example, this, I'm going to be in it for a little bit, right? This is a slower paced beat, whereas this beat will feel faster because, let's be honest, once I go through all the prose and the dialogue in this scene, it's going to take up a page, at least 300 words, maybe a little bit more, right? Whereas this one might take up 150 words or 200 words, depending on how I describe the action, right? And the limited dialogue, which is hello, we need help, right? Like the okay, and then this one is a little longer, whatever. But it gives me a visual understanding of the rhythm of and quote unquote pace of the chapter. We just talked about pace yesterday. If you haven't seen that video and you're just watching this for the first time, I implore you to watch it. I had a lot of fun working on that video yesterday. That was a nice live video. All right, the love interest steps out of the ship, looking around at the ship. Why am I yawning? What the hell is going on? I did wake up late. Couldn't sleep. Kept having weird dreams. All right. Okay. Laura doesn't know what she's going to do with the ship. It needs a lot of work. For anyone who's just jumping in, I am not writing prose. I am writing general broad statements to understand the rhythm and flow and pace of the chapter. The love interest says something about the sale of the item he's been carrying. We'll go a little deeper in that. He holds it up, and it's really tiny and something that helps with computers and the medical world. Really? All this for that little thing? You'd be surprised. He said. All right. It comes up how much it is worth. Because of fixing the ship up and paying it off, maybe. He says it's all. All right, there we go. This is where the kid. Oh! All right, so this would be the 7th beat. They're little kids are gonna be like. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. I know, great. All right, this is where the kiss happens, and it inspires her to write the book. The love interest gives Laura a device to keep in touch. Betcha he does. I betcha he does. All right, there we go. All right, let's count the words on this. 464. 464. And we're going to call this the landing. Do we have? Okay. The landing. All right, going back. Okay. Boop. Now we're on scene 2. All right, so you see this, after all the craziness, Laura finally gets home and sits down for dinner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this, because remember, you want to start in the middle of a scene. So just because we wrote this for the extended outline doesn't mean we can't change it. There is no law. It is not the 10 Commandments if I wrote this once and I cannot change it, right? So what we're going to do is Laura... We're going to just put them right in the middle. Laura is having dinner with her family. Because we could just jump right into it. Like, you don't have to... That's the thing with scenes. You don't have to be like, oh, I got to set up the scene. Yes, you do. But that doesn't mean you have to bring a person into a scene. You don't have to be like, oh, they got to the supermarket, so I got to show them getting out, parking the car, getting out of the car, walking to the door, entering the door, and then they're like, hey, what food do I need? No, just have them in the aisles looking for food. Done. It's inferred, especially if the previous scene is like, I'll be back in an hour. I got to go food shopping. If you just, the next scene, even if it's a hard chapter break in a chapter and they're in an aisle looking at food, the transition is, I got to go shopping. I'll be back in an hour. Do you understand? So you don't always have to set up the context of what is already inferred. Now, if the previous scene had nothing to do with that, you can still technically get away with just jumping right to them in the middle of the scene, shopping in an aisle. And the reason is because they're looking at food in a shopping, a store, whatever it's called, and they're looking at food. So it's already inferring the setting. The context is there, So A lot of books slow down because of that. Because it's like, oh, I gotta, whatever the case is. We gotta fight it. We got a wrestling match today. All right. Well, you gotta wake up. You gotta take a shower. You gotta get dressed. You gotta get in the car. You gotta drive to the school. You gotta get out of the thing. You gotta walk into. No, just they're in the locker room and they're getting ready for the match. All right. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, it's an M dash. I must be using AI. Thomas AI. All right. Runs in and licks Laura. Hello. Maybe that's what they sound like. I don't know. You let me know. Okay, so this has three major beats. The family. Let's just say the family eats. Just to clean up the word count. The family eats, passing food across the table. Go a little deeper. The father asks where she's been. Busy, I hope, with business. Oh, I was transporting. Nothing too crazy. Quick conversation. Actually, all right. So I was just about to write, like, how's the ship holding up? The reason I'm not doing that is because we're in the 27 plot point. And as we know, the plot point for 27 is, because this is Act 3, Section 9, the protagonist fights and wins. Plot point 27, the resolution or immediate reaction to the protagonist's decision from the events of the previous plot point, also known as resolution. And so if I bring up, like, how's the ship holding up, that could lead to potential new information, which then is like has to be kind of explored. But could I do it? All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. The dog. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, yeah. But if I wanted to, we could have him say, is the ship holding up? Because then it's cheeky. It's a joke, right? So is the ship holding up? It landed. It landed. It landed. Oh my god. All right. Let's get back into it. Okay. Laura looks around the table, the room, and just everything that she could have lost. The device that the love interest gave her goes off. All right. Now, this is the thing, like, this moment doesn't have to lead to a sequel. And this is what's nice about a standalone book. Your job with the resolution, okay, is to tell the audience that their lives are going to go on and there is a potential for XYZ to that life and what it would look like. That's what a resolution is. A resolution isn't just we won or we lost, because you can lose. A protagonist can lose in the end. That is fine. But a resolution is also saying this moment in time for them has concluded, but that doesn't mean their future is done. So it's nice little things like this that are very simple and that sort of set up, okay, she is in a new world. Because remember, the ordinary world happens, that ordinary world gets disrupted, and then she's pushed from that world she knew into Act 2. And in Act 2, she's in the new world, and she's exploring that. And then there's another disruption in the midpoint conflict, and she has to find a solution to that by the end of it, which leads to a final battle of 3 to make it out of the world she was pushed into and back to a semblance of what she had known. However, in the resolution, as always, she is not the same person. She's anew. Just like your protagonist should feel anew. Even in a flat arc, their world should feel anew. Now, in something like Sherlock Holmes, at the end, what do they usually do? Another case comes in, and they're like, and he's like, Watson, let us prepare for the next one, right? And what is anew? Their life is that they just move on to the next case. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have to show that they have basically come back to the world they knew, but it has changed slightly. It is, they moved on, or they're continuing, or they're growing, whatever the case is. But also try to show the future of potential. The future of potential. 130. 133. Ooh, we went there. All right, this is the dinner. The dinner. What's up, Cindy? Welcome, my friend. Whoops. My friend. All right. Okay. I'm just writing a note. Okay. All right, where are we? We're on the final scene. This is the final scene, everybody. Are you excited? I'm excited. I think you're excited too. I think you're excited. I hope you're excited. Because then what's the point? Why are we even doing this if we're not all excited, you know? All right, here goes. Laura sits down at her desk, opening up her computer device. Come up with something else for this, something different. Opens up. I don't know, something like that. You know, you want to make it all your own, whatever. What kind of opens up a blank document and works on the love story. This is where she sits down and writes the romance novel. The first line will be something that has to do with this book specifically, as she's using her adventure as the catalyst of the story. I love it. All right, I feel good about that. 83. There we go. The love story. Boom. All right, everyone. Look at that. With a little bit of talking, a little bit setup, a little bit of yimming and yabbing, we did that in 28 minutes. Now, I want to clarify a couple things before we move on. We have been working on this for 39 episodes, and we got through, if I may, we got through all of the brainstorming, which is just random thoughts, ideas, and just putting stuff down. We then did the character arcs, the short form outlining, and by the way, the short form outlining, for anyone who doesn't know, is through the 27 plot point outline. We're trying to figure out the rhythm of those plot point beats, okay? Then we took that and we extended that outline and started creating loose chapters, all right? And then finally, we jumped on this, which we can now mark off. Boop. And we went through all 27 chapters, learning that some chapters needed to be broken up into 2 chapters, which is fine. Your job is to service the narrative, okay? It's not about breaking it so it fits your goals, because in reality, your goals might not be for the narrative you're working on. They might be really great goals. They might be really awesome ideas. It might be cool. It might look wonderful. But if those things don't service the narrative will falter. It will not work. But that doesn't mean those ideas can't try to be worked into the narrative, but they need to service the narrative. So you might have to adjust your ideas and your goals and make it work within the narrative that is unfolding. Because as you start writing characters, as you start writing scenes, your real work is unfolding. You're going to start developing an understanding of not only the narrative you're writing, but who these characters are, which in turn is going to change the way you perceive the narrative forward. So who characters are when you come up with the idea of the concept versus the completion is going to be a major journey in itself as a writer. But with that said, my point is, this is the 39th episode, and we did all of that. That means I did 27 plus chapters, okay? That means I did all 27 extended outlines. That means I did the full short form outline. It means I worked on the 3 or 4 characters, and it means I did brainstorming. Now, why is that important to know? If this is your first time watching, you know that I only work for about an hour. So that means in 39 hours, or more importantly, 38 and a half hours, I did all of that, which means you can. That's only a full week of doing 8 hours a day, right? But you got to break that up because you have a life, right? So if you did 4 hours, now it's going to take you 2 weeks. It'd take you a month to do 20 hours a week. And then you're saying, well, Tom, I still have other things I have to do. All right, let's break it down to 2. Right? 2 hours a day. Well, that has to be 10 a week. Maybe an hour a week. An hour a day, 5 days a week. So now you're going to take 2 months to basically do all of that work. But the point is, if you're just consistent and you're always working on it and you're always pushing through, in reality, a book can come out. It can come out, you know? So what if it takes you a year, you know? Because you don't have the quote-unquote time, which is fine. And I say quote-unquote because everybody's time is different. Everyone's schedules are different, you know? And you might say, well, Thomas, I know you don't have to go out for a job. You don't have all this. So I only do the 2-hour block at night. At night, I do 2 hours. And I don't even work 2 hours on one book, and I don't always just write. You know, sometimes I'm working 30 minutes on this book, 30 minutes on that book, 30 minutes on this book. Maybe the last 30 minutes is just brainstorming or outlining or whatever the case is. Because the point is, I'm not trying to get the book done. I'm trying to work on the book. And this is just an example of how consistency and staying, you know, doing an hour, you know. And we did an hour once a week. And we're almost at the end of the year. We did really well. And you're like, Thomas, look at all these steps you have left. Yeah, but now imagine I did 30 minutes a day, right? We would have been done with this within 3 months. But my other point is a lot of this stuff also, like alpha readers, now you're beholden to other readers, right? You're beholden to how long it takes them. So even if let's say you don't pay them and they're friends, they're doing you a favor. So, you know, giving them a week or 2 weeks is fair to read 1 or 2 chapters. But at the same time, should you wait around? No. What you do is you start working on the next book or another book or whatever the case is, right? And the reason you do that is because you're waiting on them. You can't move forward. So why waste the time? So you know how like some writers, you're like, how the hell did they write 3 or 4 books in a row? You know, oh, well, they're successful writers. That's all they do. You know, Stephen King, all he has to do is write. Yeah, but he still needs to wait for feedback. He has alpha readers, and he definitely has beta readers. There's no way he doesn't, right? Same thing with Brandon Sanderson. So when your book isn't able to be moved forward or you can't work on it, you just go, let me work on the next project. And then when you start getting the alpha reader information back, you start taking your notes and you start setting up the revise. You understand? So you have to create a system and a pattern, and everything is possible. Anyway, with that said, okay, so I think let me do this. All right, so 27 is done. Whoop, whoop. We did it. Let's move on. All right. By the way, looking at this is exciting. I don't know. I'm going to make it really big so you can see it better. Boop. All right. So, as you can see, we did 8,400 words for our notes. This is our extended draft. So this right here is extended draft, okay? This right here is the zero draft, what we just worked on. We're at 17,000 words. You're like, Thomas, that's not a lot of words. Well, it's notes. It's just outlining stuff. According to my formula, right now we are loosely at 41,000 words. Our goal is to hit around 81,000 words, maybe 90,000 words, because it is technically sci-fi. Hello. All right. But more importantly, we have a 31 chapter book. So we did the 27 chapters, and we ended up having to break some chapters up into 2 chapters. So 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So we ended up having to make 4 additional chapters, and it got us to 31. I think that's fantastic. You know, at the end of the day, if we look at, let's see, if we're going for 90,000 words divided by 31, we're going to end up about 2,900 words on average per chapter. Maybe less, maybe more, depending on the chapters. Okay? But now we know. We have an idea. We know where we could be going with this and stuff like that. So it's really nice to sort of... That's why I like keeping track of everything. But there you go. All right, we can close this out. Close this out. Here we go. All right, so... oh, it's been so long that this... All right, let me fix this up. We got to put it at A5. And then 75. Just so you can see it better. Boop. I think that works. Yeah, excelente. Excelente. All right. All right. So what I'm gonna do? Let me bring up this other page. Boop. My notes page. So I have this for every book. I have a notes page. As you can see, I already put a note in here about add more of the dog creature here. That's still up in the air. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna read a chapter. We're gonna look through it and see if there's any information in there that needs to be, added, edited, adjusted, explored. With that said, it might lend to me putting it to other chapters. Now, right now we have 27, so we know that we just went further than that. We did, 31. Okay. All right. Let's just get that like that. Okay. Now, the other thing I do after I have, by the way, is I just keep this file. And like when I have beta readers, I might be like, beta 1, right? And then notes. And then underneath that, I would have their notes. And it would just look like this. Okay. But we'll get to that when we get to alpha and beta reader notes. Not that we're going to have alpha readers and betas, but it'll be there. So right now, let's do it. So we're going to kind of read through and skim through this. And I'm going to just take notes if any notes are even necessary as it is. All right, stars flashed by. Oh, this is us doing like an opening beat, which, by the way, was just as an experiment. Jolt about in my seat, shimmering in the body of my ship. The soft make of these some little cushions didn't relax the bumping around on my ass. All right, I loosened my grip enough to allow the. Light speed. I know I said I wasn't going to write it, but I forgot that I had the note there. Change. All right. The device really gave me issues. All right. Anyway, this is me. I think if I remember correctly, we're just playing with prose. If I use prose and drafts in the zero draft, it's like not as pretty as that. It's a little rougher. It's more like this. All right, Laura speaks in the ship, asking if that. Whoop. All right. Attitude. What is going on? Now, obviously, any chapter that has the computer, I would just happily just add that. I don't know what chapters have the computer off the top of my head. Otherwise, I would have just copied and pasted that right now. Oh, Laura has a mouth on her. I like it. I like it. All right. All right. So I'm reading about the hyper. I need to work out the hyperspace devices. Look like how they work. Their limitations and the cost of using them. Okay, so these are important things for world building, obviously, but they're also narratively functional. You know, like we know that she can't always use them. We know that sometimes there's a mishap. We know that her ship isn't built with hyperspace built in, so she has to use these devices, which means, and this is so Laura has to use these devices because her ship is older and doesn't have them. So these are old technology. They are phase them out. So now, just from this alone, just from doing the notes and expanding on it, I'm starting to create some sort of lore. I'm starting to create history and lived in world. All right. And these little things will come up in dialogue. They will come in, they'll come up in description. You know, maybe scene idea. There are two available. First one won't lock on because it's decommissioned. All right. Or oh no, because she's coming in. She's coming in. So so let's do she unlocks one, and it goes into decommissioned mode, and the computer acknowledges that. All right, so now that's directly connected to the character's movement and involvement, so it's not sort of like a secondary. It's within the flow of the scene itself in the beginning. So this is what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to make logical sense of scenes. I'm trying to add depth. I'm trying to build the world a little bit, and that's gonna happen. You know, this is where I get to do a little bit more work. You know, I get to think about things. But as you notice, I'm still not going into greater detail. I'm not going to sit here for 2 weeks and work out everything that has to happen here. But these notes are going to guide me for when I am writing prose, when I am thinking of stuff, because we already know how it influences the narrative and the characters. But if it's called a or a, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You know, it's not world bending. In fact, I still have 1, 2, 3, even 4 drafts of writing the prose. So if I call it a right, and then I'm just like, by the 3rd draft, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna change it to, you know, and then I do. And that's why I don't put a lot of effort and time into sitting into the finer, specific micro details, because you're always rewriting, you're always working. In fact, in the whatchamacallit, in this book, The Death of a King, in the Patreon tier, there is a moment where I talk about how they were originally called barbarians, right? I just use barbarians because if I say barbarians, your brain is like, oh, barbarians. But then I was like, oh, wait, barbarians. And my friends, I had alpha readers that were like, hey, barbarians. And that's the problem. If you say the word barbarian, there's a slew of emotional knowledge to that word, barbarian. Whether it's Conan the Barbarian, or it's something more racially divided by, they are a barbarian, they are a savage, right? It has bad connotations. So I ended up taking the word barbarian and I changed it to Sarvian. And now, but Sarvians aren't barbarians because I built it into the world where Sarvians have this culture. They have this history. Sarvians are the people of the land who have chosen not to partake in the city world, right? They're Hamarans, but there are Hamarans that live in the cities and the villages and towns. Basically, they assimilated into modern times. And then the Sarvians are those who still worship the immortal gods, the old gods, you know. So it actually, by having that note given to me, it allowed me to add more to the world than just being like, they are barbarians. But for the first zero draft, I think even some of the first drafts, actually I was editing a chapter last night, and I was like, oh, barbarian is still here, and I had to take it out and change it to Sarvian. I was going to do that with my edit list. See? Look, great minds, flowers. Great minds work together and think alike. Yeah, it's a really... Look, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to make sure everything's staying together and makes sense, you know? All right, where are we? Let's keep going. Harder. By the way, I'm not like reading this. I'm skimming it. And the reason I'm skimming it is because I'm on note-taking time. All right. It seemed to be working. The device floats off the ship and locks into place on its port. See, like right here would be a great time to do that beat I just worked on. You know? All right, the low fuel light goes on. Oh, Tom's using AI. All right, she hits the gauge. I told you we should have fuel. See, I could be like, you know what, I'm going to change the fuel. But sometimes you want to keep things connected to what our readers will know, like a person will know. Because you don't want to have to explain what is. You know what I'm saying? You know, oh, we should have shined up. You know, import X. You know, sometimes you just want to be like fueled. Let's get it over with. But when you can build on the world or the lived-in world, and it doesn't slow down the pace or the narrative with jargon, it's good to take advantage of it. However, if jargon is used contextually, you know, she grabbed the bloop bloop on the ship and steered it left. Well, all right, so now we know Vloop Vloop has something to do with controlling the ship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get away with jargon if it is contextually understandable. But if I wrote, I told you we should have zong up import X, there's no contextual... you know, the jargon is just jargon. So that slows the read down. It just becomes like... Wah. All right, I know, I rolled my eyes. I called the planet. I thought I was up here, but damn, the damn fuel light on. I really do like, I forgot how much I like the computer's attitude. Repeat, you're breaking up over there, mother. All right, hey, over. Oh, yeah, see, this is good, because we're seeding the fact that our headset... Which also, by the way, now that we just did the last chapter, it's nice that the novel starts off with the head thing being crap still, and then it ends with it still being crap. It's not like we fixed that, so it shows that her ordinary world that she once knew still somehow exists. She's just changed as a character, you know, and... certain things can't be what they were because of what has happened. So it's nice to have those anchors, you know. Yes, mule is gone. I need a landing spot. All right, we're going to die. I don't want to die. The computer doesn't want to die. Okay. I already can tell. I don't think I'm going to like this first person writing, but obviously this is just ribble rabble, just to kind of get used to it. But we'll see. I think it'll be a good exercise. I knew you need me again. Oh, that's actually funny. Sorry, I amused myself. I apologize. It's all right if you're not amused, but I am amused. By the way, if anyone, in about 10 minutes, we're going to jump on to the poll. What's the hardest to accept when getting feedback from alpha, betas, whatever, anybody, even just readers in general? They were right, which means you were wrong. It needs rewriting because, of course it does. Good idea, poor delivery, son of a bitch. It doesn't feel real. All right, we'll talk about that. We'll get into that. All right, scratch voice 4 through the port 758 tree. I repeat, port 758 tree copy. All right. By the way, if I was going to write this a little bit more, I'd go port 7583, a scratch voice 4 through the speaker. I repeat, port 753, copy. You know, like I would break it up like that, just so it has more quote unquote movement. You know, I talk about movement a lot. There's movement, and we talked about this yesterday, where like a passage can have movement about one specific thing, but also movement is the flow of how dialogue comes out, or the flow between an action beat with dialogue. Flow is, movement is important. You have to always be looking for ways to create movement. You don't want it to ever feel like, excuse the pun for the robot, but you don't want to feel like a machine. You don't want it to feel like a computer. We are doing stuff like we don't want it. You don't want it to do that. All right, Laura, grab the mic closer to her mouth. Hello. All right. I don't have ears. Okay. The ship continues to fly down. I'm kind of liking this opening. We're going to crash. All right. This is intense. There's a lot of stuff happening here. This is pretty intense for a first chapter. I like it. Laura shook her head, pressing some buttons to change the wings. We went deep in this. Laura, how many words is this? All right. So, I'm liking this computer, but I don't know if I want one. That's funny. All right, something I'm very much noticing is this is 900 and something words, which means by the time we get into the prose, it's probably going to end up being 1,500 words, if not more like 2,000, maybe 2,500. So I'm going to give myself a note. This chapter might have to be broken up with the landing. Scene 1 being its own chapter, and the second 2 scenes being its own smaller chapter. All right. So that's something else that I am looking for when I'm taking notes, when I'm reading through. I want to make sure that I'm acknowledging the pacing issues, that I'm knowledge, because the reason I'm doing that is this is a pretty intense opening scene. There's a lot going on. She almost she does crash technically. You know, it's high energy. So there is a lot of information coming at us. Maybe not detailed information, but information like a lot is happening. So after it crashes or whatever, we want to allow the reader to have a moment to sort of breathe. And that's why we would, instead of doing a hard chapter break, I think it might benefit the narrative by making it its own chapter. Yeah, because this is a nice, good opener for chapter 2, because it sets the scene, and we're still in the movement of things, and we're still in the middle of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. That I like moments like that. I don't know about you, but I like when characters, what they're saying doesn't necessarily like inform exposition, but technically we are learning something. You had to stop barking here. The grass is just growing. Meaning like this isn't the first time, so it is seeding behavior and history, but it's really has like a nice little kind of character moment. Oh yeah, I like this little touch. This is my nod to writers. Hi, Cindy. Yeah. Sing once again with me. A strange duet. My power over you grows stronger yet. And though you turn from me to glance behind, the phantom of the opera is there inside your mind. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the right move to do because this is short enough. This will end up being like maybe 1,200 words, maybe, and then this I think is gonna. Yeah, this feels it's probably gonna be what 400 and something. Yeah, 400 something. So this is gonna be like 1,200 words. So it would make more sense to make this its own chat. You know, these two scenes, its own chapter. Oh, food. All right. So basically, what I'm doing is, um, oh, you know what? Boop. This technically goes here. All right. So, because this is the last chapter. So, what I'm trying to do, this scene that I just read right here, this visually, I now kind of want that to be what opens up the dinner scene in the last chapter. And I'll just let it sort of play. Whatever I write for this, I'll play beat for beat, but then I'll change small little things because it's little things that Laura would be noticing. In fact, let me make that extra note there. The little changes are what Laura is noticing, giving insight into who and how she has changed from that first dinner scene. Okay, notice I didn't say chapter here just because I know already the chapters are. And I'm not going to make a second chapter for these scenes. I'll do that when I do my second run. You know, I'll start adjusting things then, just so I don't mess anything up, just so I can keep track of stuff. But these are things that I'm looking for when I'm writing my notes. I'm not just like, oh, add this, take that away. I'm also trying to think narratively. I'm trying to connect things. Oh, I like this feel, or I like this rhythm, or I like this scene. You know, I like this beat. If I'm finding a word that maybe I remember changing later on, you know, I have to write the note down. Oh yeah, I changed this. So when you're taking your notes, it's all important. I'm gonna try to finish this scene, and then we could go into the next hour. The parents flirt. you just configure. Gotta figure out what his job is, though. What's his job? I don't know what his job is. That's good. That's good. So we're gonna go back here. All right. Go back up to chapter 1. Oh, that reminds me. See how I'm coming up with a little bit more quote-unquote specific, but I'm not allowing myself to go too deep into things, you know. And that's really the secret. You don't want to overwhelm yourself when it's not needed. You're going to get there. You're going to add more stuff. You're going to create stuff. You're gonna, things are gonna blow up. Blow up as in like fill up and get bigger as you play with it, as you work it. So, all right, as a really deep struggling, you keep crashing the ship, and you're gonna be. I forgot that was a funny line. All right, oh, see, all right, so like I said earlier, remember I forgot about this moment. So when the guy says, you got to stop landing here, the grass just started growing. It seeded that, this is enough. Larson mentioned that the crashes are more controlled than at first. That's actually funny. All right, sorry. Oh, the war. Oh, okay. All right. I know that some things come up with the war, so I got to make sure that I keep track of that. I'm glad I have a date here. We're also doing world building 476DR. Let me just put this in. Make sure to add notes about this in other war mentioned moments. Now, so as like, obviously, next session, I'm going to do chapter 2. And while I'm doing that, if I read anything about the war, I know that I could look at these other notes and be like, is there anything from these notes that I got to put into chapter 2? And this would be, if the war comes up in chapter 2, I would just copy and paste and put that there because I just want to keep, continuity. So that helps, All right, there we go. Okay. Boop. That was a lot of fun. All right. Any questions before we get into it, before we start having some fun with the poll? Agua. All right. Okay, where are we? Sorry about that. All right, what we got here? Let's see. Let's bring up the banner. What's hardest to accept? We have 5 votes right now and 7 people watching. So if you're in it to win it and you want to get involved, what's hardest to accept? Not today. I'm still plotting on Excelente flowers. That's all right. You know, maybe next week you'll have some questions. You know, I love questions. All right. So, what's hardest to accept? Ooh, we have 5 votes now with 8 viewers. Hey, feel free to jump in and pop a vote in. We have what's hardest to accept when getting feedback basically from beta readers or alpha readers. They were right because you were wrong. It needs rewriting. Ugh. And then, of course, good idea, poor delivery, son of a. And then it didn't feel real. But keep in mind, it's all anonymous. I don't know who's voting for what. So do not feel like your name will pop up. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Day 2 of water. Would you look at how great that skin looks? Thank you. Thank you. It's a little pale. I don't have the tan of my family. My brother looks like he's, Arabian. My cousin's super, super dark. She's my first cousin. I need a little color is what I'm saying. I'm Sicilian. I shouldn't be pale, but I am. It looks like I'm dying. All right. It needs rewrites. Rewriting. Wait, it needs rewriting would hurt. Oh. Yeah, rewriting with you got to rewrite this. It needs a lot of work there. Smoother than a baby's butt, but except for the beard. You know, the beard is getting pretty thick though. It's growing in. It's growing in. Smoother than a baby's butt, ladies. All right, so since we have 8 people, 9 people watching, and there's a vote, let's see what the poll is. I'm gonna see if we can get 4 more votes in there, right? Right. And then we will discuss it. Before we get into it, let me tell you right now, makearightlefthear.com. Feel free to follow me over at makearightlefthear.com. If you don't follow the newsletter, I put up news there. There is news on the front page, keeping you up to date on books to come, books that have come, books that have been published, and also other information, not only just for merchandise, but when and where I may be speaking, or if I'm going to speak, and any future classes that will be available either through the intranet or even online here. So keep that in mind. More importantly, please bloop the beard and bloop that like button, because every like helps the analytics grow on this channel, which means we're going to keep it going, right. I went for it. It didn't feel real, because that would mean it would need well, yeah, that's true. That's true. They do. I'll be honest, though. They were right means it's rewriting. It needs rewriting. But I think what I'm saying is, like, it needs rewriting as in, like, there's nothing. They were right could be something like, or it didn't feel real could be that it's just, you got to do rewriting, but like the core might still be there, like the substance might be there, but it just the characters aren't feeling real, or the emotions, we got here. I wouldn't be able to choose which one because I haven't gotten that far yet. All right, well, that's fair. But which would be the most hardest to accept for you? Like, if somebody said something, what would bother you the most? It's all crap. Yeah, it is crap. Yeah. They'd be like, hey, rewrite this crap. I went for it. Didn't feel real as well. Excellent. Yeah, that is painful because you're like, I put my heart in. Like, I don't know about you, but when I'm writing, sometimes I cry. Like when I'm rereading scenes or if I'm working on scenes, because I'm processing the emotions of the characters. I know that sounds weird, but because I do come from like acting and writing and stuff like that. So like I'm trying to embody these characters. So I'm there, and if somebody was like, "This was terrible. Didn't feel real," I'd be like, "Oh man, I must be a sociopath because maybe I was just fake crying." This was great, but I have to build shells so hey, have fun, Cindy. We will miss you. See you next week. Hopefully Saturday, Sunday. But hey, get those shells going. I know they're going to look wonderful. Bye, Cindy. I went for They Were Right. Excelente. Excellent choice, Hannah. Excellent, excellent choice. All right, let's go. We're going to just do it. End the poll. All right. We have What's the Hardest to Accept? We got 50% with It Didn't Feel Right. And I agree with that. That is probably, it didn't feel real. You know, like, again, if you put your heart and soul into something and just people are like, nah, no, I could have done better. And that's a difficult feeling to partake in. If you're feeling comfortable enough to articulate, anyone who chose that, what is your response to that? How do you handle that? How do you move forward from someone telling you it didn't feel real, other than punching them in the face? Because obviously we are a non-violent grouping of people in public. They were right. This one's difficult, I feel, for people, especially when you're so sure on something, and then it's just so many people are pointing it out that it's just like, majority rules. And because majority rules, it's like you got to kind of face the truth. And I think that's the hard part, is facing that, like, reality. Good idea, poor delivery. I'm on board with that. Yeah, you know, like I got to, because, you know, like when you're talking about an idea and you're really passionate about it, and people are like, oh, you got to write that. That sounds great. And then you write it and they're like, this is not what you talked about. Because then you're like, oh, I gotta rewrite. Tears. I mean, that's really the only thing I guess you could do in that situation. Like, it didn't feel real. That's how I used to cry on screen. Worked every time. Me. Shall we practice? Vampires are real. Slap, slap. Slap, slap. You need a little slap once in a while, you know? Slap. Slap, slap, gotta give that slap. Slappity tap tap doo. All right, let me. I gotta close this. I guess we'll close that. I think we're doing very well with this series. I'll just be honest with you. Write a book with me, from concept to conception. I started this with a 5-hour video a while back. You know, I was trying to do a big thing, and then like I sort of was like, maybe not this story, maybe not in this format. That was a long time, 5 hours, and but I wanted to start literally from scratch, and because the other idea I kind of was like sort of contemplated. So it was nice to sort of start this series, and I'm really happy where it's going. I'm really happy that I'm getting the feedback I am, and that it's helping, and that you're getting to see the process. You know, but more importantly, to everyone watching, you know, what is there anything you would like me to add to how I am doing this series to better help you? You know, what is it you would like to hear me talk about when I am going over the chapters, the outlines, you know, when I'm talking about my process, or if, you know, the way I discuss things when I do stop working and then I talk about what it is I'm doing on the page. I would love to hear your feedback on that, you know, anything to help this series grow, you know. But it wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. I love The Fugitive. That's a great movie. That was repeating in my head from the Oh, that is also from The Mask. Yeah, but it wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. You know, Harrison Ford. I can't do his voice. The Mask, though, I remember. Oh, you know why? Because The Mask, in the movie The Mask, he's making reference to The Fugitive. It was the one-armed man. I remember that. Good stuff. Anyway, other than that, you know what time it is. It's time for the hoopla. If you've gotten this far and you haven't done so already, and you're really loving what you're watching, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. The algorithm of YouTube really helps expand these videos the more you engage with it. So likes, comments, shares, and of course, subscribing. And obviously watching. You know, the more you watch the videos, the more the algorithm goes, people like this. So keep that in mind. I will say that the book is still available. MakeARightLeftHere.com. It all begins with one step, one choice, one change. Getting through the second book for the formatting. It's looking sexy. And it's much shorter than that first book, just for the record. I am on chapter 11 now. I did it. I got there. Hey, Flowers, since you are reading this book, I think you're on chapter 4 already, with the tier. Are you learning anything through that tier, and are you enjoying the book? I'd love to hear some of your feedback, only because I respect and honor your opinion. It's the things that we care about. When we care about a person and we appreciate their existence, it's the things that matter. It's the things that matter. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Let's see. Other than that, let's cut that off. Do we have anything else? I think that's it. Oh my God! Look who it is. It's the Richard. What is up, Mr. Holiday? Wait, who's slapping Emma? No one, sir. No one. Yet. I'm adorable. Adorable. I'm adorable. Richard, welcome. It's always a pleasure to see you. Hey, Uncle Sky. Guess what? My father just showed me the whole kingdom, and I'm gonna rule it. Hakuna Matata. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Yeah, Hakuna Matata. Oh, what a joy. Be prepared. Okay. Oh. Learning along the way, loving the sass of the little Venus. Oh yeah, I'm a little lonely there. Yeah, I do like Leah. Yeah, Leah is a lot of fun. She definitely has that sass. She's like, yo. I do like writing her scenes, and not just because it's musical. Thank you for that feedback, and I'm glad you're learning along the way. I'm really happy that you are learning. Anyone who says I'm adorable isn't really adorable. Well, Richard, that means you're adorable. Other people must say it about you. Well, I take it back then. Emma is definitely adorable. Come on, she's a little girl, a woman, I should say. She's a little woman. She's self-employed. She is an accomplished author, and for other reasons, she could beat me up. So I'm not going to obviously say anything against that. All right, you cannot self-identify as adorable. I mean, you can. It is possible. In fact, yes, that's right. She just did. All right. Even though she did make me cry. Flowers made you cry. Flowers. Aaliyah made you cry. Oh, come on, Flowers. You gotta let me know. Like, what was it about Aaliyah that made you cry? Oh my God, that's stuff I like to hear about. I'm glad though. I'm upset. No, I'm sorry you cried, but I'm happy that it connected with you in one way or another. It's against the rules, you sir. Yippee-ki-yay. Sorry for not leaping for joy. Back, hey, Uncle Scott. Oh, sorry for not leaping in joy. He's calling you short. See? Adorable, according to Thomas. And since it's my channel, it is law. You are short. But I'm also 5'9.5". My doctor said to just tell people I'm 5'10". And I was like, why? And he's like, first of all, you're more than 5'9.5". You got it's like 3/4. Second, you wear sneakers, and your sneakers have a half an inch on it. So even if you were just 5'9.5", you're 5'10". And I was like, that makes sense. No, I am glad. Making people cry with words. To be honest, Emma, you've been called a lot worse. Woo. Look how happy you are at someone crying. Hey, how can you not be happy when your work, your hard-earned passion, connects with somebody emotionally? I was just talking with you about this the other day, my friend, little Miss Emma. that like when people read the scripts or we're working on do table reads and they're like that's like just the it's so good. I made my friend cry and I was like, see you get it, Flowers. See, your friend was like, and and I know it wasn't like tears like, why is she making me read this? It was like, oh my god, these characters feel real, which is why I understand why you chose It Doesn't Feel Real would be the worst. So that's good. Emma keeps ignoring my suggestions to set her romance books in the quaint town of It is a real place, and I know that because on this very live, not this one, but a live of this day, we did look up some crazy names. 5'2". Now that's pretty tall, though. For a short person, that's tall. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. We're gonna have to make. Oh, Emma is according. I gave her administration power to banish those who do not behave. I am behaving poorly. You are behaving poorly. Look it up. Don't you mean look it down? All right. Actually, you are supposed to. Even though I wear a size 6 shoes. I live in a shoe. I'm the shoe lady. You're welcome. I want to see how Thomas attempts to pronounce why. We already know it's Clitthero or something like that, right? What is it? Yeah, wait. I got a device. I got a thing because of my dyslexia. Clitthero. Let's see. Clitheroe. Richard, that's naughty. What is that? What is that? Scunthorpe. Is that a real place? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh wait. Scunthorpe. Is that a real place? And then Penistone. But I think it's Penistone, right? Isn't it Penistone? Penistone. Whoop. Penistone. Let's be honest. We like saying penis. Pennystone. All right. See, I have a device that helps me pronounce words sometimes because my brain can't see the letters correctly because I'm retarded. All right. There's a whole list of naughty sounding British places. There sure are. I love that list, by the way. I do love them. Everybody's being extremely. We're trying. They are fabulous. I hear Pennystone, or as it's more pronounced by locals, Penis Tone, has a weird lint that floats around in the front gates area when you enter. Emma's got a holiday home in Shitterton. Shitterton is the one that definitely was on that list. I do remember greatly. And what is that? Caravan in Twat. Well, Twat. I hear is because of the weather over there. It's very moist over there near Twat. Isn't it by like a river or something like that? And like sometimes the river flows a little bit faster during like a storm season, right? And obviously Caravan Twat, right? It's very moist in Twat. Yeah, Richard, you're so close to a time. Richard, she has the power. She has the administration power to put you in a timeout. When I was 15, I cycled through Pissy Povilla in France. Now, is it true in France they don't believe in ACs? Is that accurate? By the way, when I was younger, I had people from France, foreign exchange students, live at my aunt's house. And, I was living at my aunt's house too. And I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to create a stereotype. But the people from France who were part of, had to talk to them for the foreign exchange, they said, listen, you have to make sure they shower. If you don't, they won't. And they're there for 2 weeks. So you need to ensure that they take the shower. And we were like, what? The people from France were like, you have to tell the French people to shower. And we were like, okay. And that was literally like something that was on the sheet too. Like when we got the sheet, it was like they must shower. So I thought that was weird. Not that not showering isn't weird, but I mean like that you have to tell people, hey, you're like 17 or 16, you should know to shower. All right. At my work, we have a pair of men's and women's bathrooms, and we call them the Seattle bathrooms because the walk is about 15. That's funny. 15 to 20 minutes. That would explain the smell. Ew. That name just sent me laughing flowers. Do, 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 do. I'm still laughing. Oh, yes. Let's find more rude place names from around the world. Yes, because it has to do with writing. You know, it's definitely all about writing. Let's not. It's research. I'll research you into timeout, Mr. Richard. Richard, go to bed. You need to go to work, unlike me. That's right, because Emma is successful and Richard is... Richard, what's your nickname? What's the short version of your name? I forget. Who made Emma the fun police here? Well, let's be honest. Life did. Can I put Emma? You can try. Feel free to. I do not believe you have admin capabilities on this, though, so good luck. Those names could be naughty and fun names. They could be and are for characters. More or less not great, would agree. I will tell you what it's not. Come on, Richard. Come on. Come on. Give us a little hint. Give us a little hint. Is it a little name? Is it a little name? It's shorter, right? It's shorter. What is it, like 4 letters? It's 4 letters. All right. No, I'm just glad you're showing up. It's not great. Not great. It's not great. Richard, I think I know what your hobbies are. Richard is always a Richard. Oh, always Richard. He's always Richard. Richard. He's always a Richard. Is Richard being a Richard? Is he a Richard? How's that work? Sorry, my accent. My accent messes up the words. I'm just kidding. I'm just glad you're visiting. I feel like Richard only jumps in though to fiddle faddle and biddle battle and disarray and see how you can toss some chaos into the kettle. You know, but a Chad. Still laughing, can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Chard is a pointless ingredient of salad. That is true. Fiddle. You fiddle faddler! Did you write that one down, Emma? It's the pissy poly name that's making me laugh. He fiddled with her fiddle and left it all for the road. Oh my, he fiddled her fattle till there was no more to call home. All right, that's my limerick for the day. I think that was a fair limerick. I know this is a writing channel, but I think I sing more than I write, and I feel like I'm okay with it. I'm going to need a little bit more liquid. That was nice. Whoop. Dorset certainly named their limestone hills well. It's where the water comes. All right. If you don't fiddle with her fattle, Pavilla turns pissy. Sorry, I was being distracted. All right. Okay. Anyway. All right. It's 1:30. It's 1:31. We did good today. No, you know what? Yeah, sure. That's what I did. That's what I was doing. All right. With that said, I guess we call it a day. Hey, Richard, by the way, speaking of, have you bought Carla's son's book? I just want to make sure everyone knows that Carla's son has written a book, and we have to, that's priority on the list. In fact, all right. Okay. Anyway, so I guess Carla has a son, and Carla's son needs your money and reviews. I took a break from my story today because of the cold, and sometimes you need to rest. You need to take a nap. Is there a link? Please buy Carla's son's book. Please. No, but Richard, I don't know if you know this, but I have a website. You should try it out. Make a right left here.com. Go ahead, try that out. Take a little. Oh wait, that's not the son of a. That's how they get you. You can't click that, but you could write it. But I don't want you to have to use your fingers. I just want you to. I love websites. There you go. Enjoy. There's a lot of fun stuff there. Maybe a joke or two. There's a joke or two. All right. Other than that, I think we're done. I think we did good today. I'm gonna read my books I bought from the fair, but first I'm gonna try and finish The Fairy from Central Park. Bye. I bloop a coffee every morning. Yes, you do, Flowers, and I really hope you're enjoying that cup. You got the big one too, right? You got the taller one. It really didn't the design come out nice. I think it looks really good on the cup. I think it definitely looks good on the cup. I like how clean it looks. All right, my friends, my lovely friends, my supporting wonders. Remember, I am here to support you too. It is not a one-way street. So, if you have websites, if you have a book coming out, if you have links to books, please give them to me if you haven't already, because as you know, there are links in the description of your name and to whatever link that I had to seek out for you or that you sent my way. And I don't have the book here. And if you get me your stuff and we are quote unquote friends, remember, I put your names in the book. See? I support the community because it's not just, I love you guys. See, we got Emma Bennett there. We got my friend Jay Carson. We got Ellie. I believe in spreading the love. I believe in community. And I just want you to know, if you send me your information, okay, and it makes time to get into wherever it has to go, just know that I will do it. I will support you. All right. Just got a jam to town. Keep reading, Hannah. Keep reading. I love that you're reading. It's me. That's right, Emma. You're in my book. Oh, wait, you already read my book, and then you gave me a really lovely review. I appreciate it. Grazie mille. Uh-oh. Fluttery fingers are taking me away. All right. Yeah. So just know, you give me your time. I'm always going to give you my time and do what I can. With that, I guess we're done. Am I in your book? Well, Hannah, I don't have a link to your website or your books. You don't have books, right? I only put the link in there for the books, so it goes to the books so you could get book sales. But you said you're still writing your book. So get back to me when the time comes. Get back to me. You're going to be here, right? I'll be here. We'll be able to explore. All right. With that said, I think it's time to go. I think we're gonna call it a day. It's street charity. It's street charity. All right, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. As always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.